Texas A&M, LSU. Lost a little bit of juice when LSU got pushed around a little bit versus Vandy and the Commodores there. Um, you first here. A&M rolling one of the best teams in America, one of the most complete teams in America. Feels like LSU is somewhat in a do or die situation right now, EMAC.
Yeah, it really does. And I think exactly what you just said there about what happened to LSU. They got pushed around, right? And I know they didn't have their best linebacker, and who knows, maybe they still won't. I think A&M's licking their chops saying, we can do that. We got better backs. We like our backs more. We like our running attack. We can do that and replicate that. Will be interesting to see just again, how much does Marcel Reed include himself in that rushing attack? I
Yeah.
think he's been playing at a very high level right now. You know, you and I were, pretty worried about the accuracy early, but it seems like he has figured that out. And, when you have weapons like he does, I covered Concepcion, super intimately being over in the ACC. That dude's explosive, but he and Craver together, I mean, it's been a revelation. So I'm excited to see that attack and what they're going to do. Um, offensively to LSU. Now it's night game. You got to deal with all that. You got to deal with the crowd noise, the electricity in the air, kind of there. But what does this defense look like? Are they able to make LSU one dimensional, which seemingly everybody has? And can you prevent the pass? Can you prevent the big play? Those are two of the things defensively that I'm really paying attention to for A&M.
Yeah, I mean, I to go on Marcel Reed, I thought early in the season people were obviously enamored with the way he was playing and then making big time plays, explosive plays down the field, and that's great. I love it. You need to create explosive plays. I love watching an offense that isn't all just dink and dunk and oh, my quarterback is throwing for 75% completion percentage. Well, every ball is within 5 yards, so like I could go out there right now, my old ass self, and throw for 75% completion. So like he's actually pushing the ball vertically down the field, taking shots, hitting explosives with the two receivers, obviously, you just talked about. But I will say that there was still an area of improvement that needed to be had in the accuracy category. And I thought he's made those strides the past 2 weeks. I thought his game versus Florida 2 weeks ago was the best I've ever seen him play. The command on the football was absolutely terrific. Obviously, another big game last weekend versus Arkansas as well. So offensively, I think it is a really big time matchup with truly how good is this offensive line for A&M, which has been terrific all season. This running game has been terrific all season, and he's been really good all season. But you are going into the most hostile environment in college football. Night game, Tiger backed up into the back of his cage, hungry, pissed, needs to win this one's got to eat or he going to die kind of feeling right now. And I think that defense was embarrassed a week ago versus Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
And they know they're better than that. So I think you're going to get LSU's best defensively, regardless of weeks plays or doesn't play. Where I think it's going to be a pretty tall task for A&M to be able to move the football there in Baton Rouge, Mac.
Yeah, well, you would hope so. You hope that you play that way, especially having the crowd behind you and just given the circumstance of where you are, because it does truly feel like a must win. I mean, every time I turn on, open up Twitter, I'm seeing Brian Kelly ain't the guy. Get him out. No fit, doesn't make sense. Why is he here? And that's only going to get worse with losses, which I think I see some more losses on the schedule. And who knows, maybe there's a pretty little job open in Baton Rouge. But it's one of those things where, they present such unique challenges because you have such a mobile quarterback, but you have two really, really good running backs in Texas A&M, and they're going to try to mix it up. They're going to try to throw a lot of different things at you. And then inversely, on the other side for LSU, we know their run game has not been excellent all year, actually been kind of non-existent at times. But even when they got it going, which it felt like they did a little bit last week, they still couldn't score when they needed it. They couldn't score on the goal line, on the 1 yard line, running that football. And we've seen that a couple of times. I was talking with Jake Hester the other day about this. 3 times in the last 2 games that they've had 1 yard they need and they can't get it. And that to me is just kind of defines who you are as a team. And so can they step up? I don't know. There's a lot riding on this game, it feels like. And for Texas A&M, the one thing that will be interesting to just monitor, because it feels like this has been magnified times 10 right now, Aaron, with this coaching carousel and all these coaches' names being thrown to different places. And for some reason, there's a really strong tie. We'll talk about this again at the end. Really strong tie for whatever reason that Elko could go to Penn State. If those whispers are in the building, dude, it can get weird in a hurry. So I hope
Someone was telling
not.
me about the other day. I just don't know why. I don't want to make this about that, but you have everything you want at A&M.
Everything.
Everything you
Yeah.
would want,
Yes.
at A&M, and a team is now showing you what they're capable of doing. So, I don't know, like I said, this I don't know, maybe we'll touch on that at the end when we talk about the coaches and moving around and, is he a legitimate, candidate for that Penn State job? Yeah, I do wanna talk about, the Aggies defensively because I have been impressed with them offensively, but there have been some glaring issues defensively. Early on the season, they did not look good, even against lesser opponents. They didn't look good versus Notre Dame, but you know how I feel about Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame's offense is terrific, but they still went up and down the field against them. And then Arkansas a week ago, their quarterback Green went for what 3 touchdowns and a bunch of yards too, throwing the football, not just running the football, but throwing the football. The defense is, especially away from home, is not the same as the defense when they're at home, which makes sense because just like LSU, that is one of the best environments in college football, which is a nightmare for opposing quarterbacks and opposing offenses. So, can that defense? What's defense for A&M are you going to get? I think that's a little bit worrisome for me. And then flip it over to the other side for LSU offensively going against that defense. I did see a better Garrett Nussmeier a week ago.
Of
Went back
course.
and did the tape. Gonna be depending on what time this show comes out, the Garrett Nussmeier film review may or may not already be on the YouTube channel. So go watch that. So I show you where he has gotten better and healthier over the past few weeks. But the big question for me for LSU is yes, the running game, but then where are the receivers? Aaron Anderson's been out and had one catch a week ago, but been out before that. They got to obviously get him healthy because he's a difference maker. But Barian Brown has been a little bit of a disappointment. Like, who's going to step up and make plays on the outside? We're seeing a lack of explosive playmakers that we've grown so accustomed to seeing. I mean, their best player right now in offense is Green, the tight end, the big 6'7" guy.
Right.
I mean, that to me, like if they need a play, that's who they're going to. And I
Right.
get it, he's phenomenal, but I'm not seeing receivers consistently, like every now and then, but consistently being game wreckers and it feels like right now this is an offense that's stuck in quicksand. They can't run it consistently. Yeah, they had some explosives versus Vandy, but not consistent. The offensive line is iffy in both run and pass pro. I think Garrett's playing better, but the targets have not played up to their level. It's just an offense you just not know you're going to get each and every week. And I think
Yeah.
that is really dangerous and worrisome at this point in the season that there is still not really an identity for the Tigers offensively. So, like, I feel like I want to Emac say LSU wins the game because they're at home. It's
Mm.
a must-win situation. It's going to be a crazy environment, but I cannot confidently say right now that I trust LSU's offense to be able to move the football.
Right.
I just don't. I don't see the guys right now to be able to do that at really all the positions besides maybe Garrett playing a little bit better to feel comfortable about that pick. So with that, I'm going to go with A&M to win a close ball game.
Yeah, you threw me for a loop right there. I thought you were going with the Tigers.
I
I'm
was
right
close
there with you.
all day. I've been Tigers,
Have you?
and then
And
I went
just
back and
now.
rewatched the tape
Yeah.
of last week, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
I can't do it. I can't
Well,
trust
the
the
calling
offense.
card has been the defense, and the defense looked atrocious last week. And again, I think that all the reasons you just said, getting pushed around physically, kind of whipped at different points, A&M can do that. A&M can do that just fine. And
Yep.
so I think that that's what we see. And it's a 2.5 point spread here. Give me the Aggies going into Tiger
Who's
Stadium
favored?
and getting it done. A&M. A&M's favored 2.5. So I think that happens. I think the interesting thing too about that offense of LSU, you're kind of talking about Nuss. Everybody starts high and then it just kind of goes down. Nuss can't, get the ball pushed downfield. Receivers making plays when they can, and now that Nuss looking a little better, as you mentioned, receivers nowhere to be found. So it's a fascinating issue that no one can seemingly get on the same page. And for those reasons, I don't think being at home is going to help you with this. I think
Yeah.
A&M wins it.
I think home keeps you in the game.
Yes.
But I don't think I think I think A&M's just playing too well. I think Marcel's playing too well right now. And I would like to see his legs be a little bit involved. Maybe not to the same extent of Diego and what he did to LSU a week ago, but still there's an opportunity for him to get some yards with his